that easy. Okay? So that's an inherent problem. So actually, real problem is you can change it, but meanwhile, sample is not very good. Sample is just fluctuating, so I mean you don't know what you see is the same sample or not, and laser power is also fluctuating and changes between different frequencies. And this is the reason why you want to take spectrum. So I just show you one of the simplest organism in the earth, virus. Okay, this is Raman Spectrum of virus. The virus has basically two components, right? DNA and protein. So you basically have, so some example of Raman spectrum, what you expect if you want to look at the cell. So for those of you who doesn't know virus spectrum enough, I'm just giving you some background. In typical Raman spectrum, we have three different regions. One is this high frequency region. It begins from like 2700 up to 3500. This is where CH or NH or OH vibrate. Right? This is a very high frequency because hydrogen has very small light mass. Okay, then you have very quiet area because nothing happens. Then from like 600 to about 1800. This is what is called fingerprint region. And this is the Raman spectral area where all these functional groups vibrate locally. So for example, 1000 here, this is where phosphine oxygen vibrates. So if you have 1000 peak, you can say, all right, this you have phosphate. All right. If you have like 1650, this is actually CO stretching in amide. So this is called amide band. So this is signature of protein. So all this thing is basically a local bond of some chemical functional group. So this is where Raman spectroscopy can identify different molecules. Okay. So then, if you go below 600, then you have some very crazy area. So typically, people don't even bother to show that. This is low frequency, that's where skeletal motion happens. Here the problem is Raman peak is no longer sharp anymore, so it's not easy to use that information. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you want to use Raman or IR, any vibrational signal as a chemical, model, you have to look at here, right? Then, okay, you may say, okay, virus is pretty complicated. It has many protein and DNA. All right, what about simpler? It's not shown up that well, but all right. The left is basically sugar, even smallest, simplest, just single ring sugar. Wow, it's pretty complicated to even people like me. Okay, the right side is different DNA from different source. Okay, so here my point is, Raman spectrum in fingerprint region is pretty complicated. Good news is we know how to interpret it. Because Raman has great database and there were a lot of studies. So we know, and these days we can calculate all these vibrational peaks. So in theory, we can use all these things, but the requirement is you have to get spectrum. Otherwise, you cannot tell what you are looking at. For example, 1000 wave number can be phosphate, but it can be benzene distortion, right? So without just entire spectral shade and other peaks, you cannot say you have chemical selectivity. Alright, so this is the problem actually people thought about early. So we have a new type of cars called multiplex cars, and this is actually what I'm working with. So, alright. In previous method, to get spectrum, you have to change wavelength, which is very slow and tedious. We want to get it one shot. How can you do it? Trick is using femtosecond laser. Okay, again, with Heisenberg principle, if you have short pulse, in energy side you have a broad bandwidth. If you use femtosecond laser in pump and stop, now instead of creating just one single vibration, you just create whatever the vibration molecule has. Okay, so this is what it called. Why is it called multiplex? You just create multiple vibrations at the same time, but you still need narrow probe. So this is just like Raman. So you have to somehow combine broadband and narrow band. Then you just detect the signal with CCD now, okay, spectrum, just like normal spectrum Raman. Right? This is called multiplex cars. All right. So in this case, okay, so people begin to work on this project in like 2002, and the first earlier version is like this. Generating different pulse with synchronization is tough. So what they did was, okay, they have two types of laser actually here. One running in picosecond mode, the other running with femtosecond mode, and they just synchronize electrically. So you have basically this guy and this guy, pump and probe are basically from same laser, and even if you have just narrow pulse in this guy, because the second one is broad, you can create quite a lot of different frequency vibration. So then you just scatter with the narrow probe, and then you measure the spectrum here. So actually, two groups already demonstrate this in 2002. This guy, this is actually from Sun and Shi group, who did all the work I showed yesterday. They don't bother to do microscopy. What they did was, okay, they just scan their lipid sample like this and just look at this guy and just take one spectrum. And then they show you can do it. And this is the problem I had been talking about yesterday. Your problem is, if you get Raman spectrum, this guy, it looks like this. If you have Carl spectrum, then it looks like this. They don't look the same at all. So, okay, that was the issue of nonlinear signal. Okay, by the way, so then some Netherlands guys, actually Miller group in Netherlands, they also tried almost the same thing, but this time they took this kind of vibrant spectrum everywhere and just process the image by the entire vibrant spectrum. So they just show they can distinguish two different types of lipid by the spectrum. But then you can see the problem right away. Now, this guy, right, non-resonant signal is huge. Okay? But then another problem is, you may wonder why your vibrant spectrum is from like 1200 to actually this is about 1000 wave number, because they just use 100 femtosecond laser. So you don't have that much bandwidth. So another group, okay, just try to use super continuum out of fiber. Okay, so you can generate continuum almost like octave steady state, and they just use it to demonstrate you can get almost entire vibrational frequency range of cars in one shot. So this is actually car spectrum from the benzonitrile, and this is corresponding Raman. Okay, they have corresponding peak position, fine. But as we saw with the previous data, we have huge issue here. It's nice. This technique is promising because you can get entire spectrum in single shot. You just basically have just Raman spectroscopy, but much higher sensitivity. Problem is non-resonant background, because now you are using femtosecond laser, 100 femtosecond laser. So this is against what I discussed yesterday. So we gotta fix it. And again, we have the same problem we discussed yesterday, because you have femtosecond laser, photo damage is horrible, right? And in addition to that, now you have to take spectrum. So inherently, this guy is much slower than PMT or light. So let's add two more problems to work on. So one way to remove or avoid non-resonant signal is time sequencing. So this was actually work in 2006 and published in Science. Okay, so one guy thought, okay, we can do this by time profile difference between resonant and non-resonant signals. So this is what they do. Now they prepare three pulses separately. Okay, this is frequency axis. So you have Stokes about 900, pump around like 650, and probe about 500. So these pulses are okay, femtosecond, picosecond, and they are just spread widely in color. Okay. Now then, if you do this, you can get color spectrum like this in like something like 400 to 500 nanometers. Right. That's what. So they just make these three pulses. Right. Now, if you look at these three pulses in time domain, what happens is these two guys has broad bandwidth. That means they will be short pulse in time, something like 100 femtosecond. Okay, so they have pump and Stokes here. Now this probe is narrow frequency. That means in time is broad. It's like picosecond. Now the trick was, delay this guy long back after this first pulse. Let's see what happened. So I just draw this again. Alright, these two, pump and stokes, okay, it doesn't show up this, but I mean there's two parts here. This guy create vibration, create excitation. Right? Then vibration excitation lasts like several picoseconds. So it looks like this. Right? They're vibrating. So even though these two pulses come late, there are still vibration. Right? So you can create, I mean, healthy Hall spectral signal. Right? Now think about, okay. Alright, think about now, okay, it's somehow disappeared here. Think about non-resonant signal. Non-resonant signal, okay, the excitation doesn't last long. So these two guys create, I mean, this excitation here, but this guy doesn't have resonance, that means that it just disappears quickly. So it does not overlap with the binary probe, so you just can basically just eliminate non-resonant signal. So this is what they show. Actually, this group are just concentrate on this bacteria spore, like this anthrax, the spore, and they want to look at this dipicolinic acid coating of this anthrax spore, and they are just into that. So they demonstrate they can see that in almost a single shot. And here, because they don't have that wide bandwidth, they basically scan the stokes like this to show, okay, they can detect all these peaks, right? So that's one way, but still you have to make the 3 pulse and they have to synchronize. You can now apply this in microscope. I mean, actually, this data is not microscope. You have to use amplifier and very high, sophisticated laser. So this is what I'm doing. Actually, okay. Okay. Now, these days you can buy femtosecond laser having pulse width less than 8 femtoseconds. Right? This is commercially available. And if you plug in this pulse duration into the equation, right, what you get is you'll have something like, okay, if you have 10 femtoseconds, you have 90 nanometer bandwidth. So this laser that doesn't look like laser anymore. It's almost like wildlife source. And this is a spectrum my laser. If you have, okay, my laser has a spectrum from something like 730 up to 870. Right? Now, think about this bandwidth in wave number. This guy from here to here is 1800 wave number. So if you have 10 femtosecond laser, you already have all frequency components you can detect in fingerprint vision. Remember, fingerprint vision is about 600 to 1800. So in the single laser, you have all this color already phase locked and everything is ready. Problem is how to manipulate them. So, I mean, actually, original work is done, demonstrated by one group in Israel, and I'm just basically, developing, pushing the envelope in that one. The main idea is how to select the 3 pulse out of single pulse and do cuts, right? So, okay, like this. And our tool is something called pulse shaper. Okay, raise a hand if you ever heard what pulse shaper is. Nobody? You have? Okay. Wow, right. This is actually, similar to what Ivan used for point tracking. So I also use liquid crystal, the display, okay? This is how it works. I'm talking about femtosecond, very broadband laser. So here I just draw the 4 different color wave. Okay, say, just imagine this guy is 750, the other guy is 800, 850, like 900 wave. Okay, wave, right? Now, what you do is you disperse this guy spatially in waves. So red guy just follow this line, green guy here, and blue guy here. Okay, you just basically spread it. And just eliminate, make them all parallel. Then here, you put liquid crystal array. This time is 1 dimensional, right? And we use double layer for some special purpose, okay? So you put it, so what you can do is you spread all these different colors, okay, in this spectrum, different color in different spatial position, and you can manipulate phase and polarization and amplitude of each independent position by just changing basically polarization of your light, just like your notebook monitor does. right? You can just change, apply the voltage to liquid crystal, this liquid crystal, a specific position, rotate. So, okay, you can rotate your optical axis, and with the polarizer, you can control amplitude, phase, everything, right? This is called pulse shaper. And you have very similar device, I'm guaranteed. Everybody here in this room has very similar thing in your home. This is what is called, sound equalizer. If you look at your boombox carefully, you see this kind of thing, or even your MP3 device. Okay, so there's one page called preset or something. You probably remember something like this. There was a lots of this vertical slide, and it said like something like 100 hertz, 1 kilohertz, 2 kilohertz. Okay, this is called sound equalizer. What it does is, it just basically changes amplitude, or control amplitude of this different frequency band. So make the sound comfortable for you. Here, what I have is basically the same thing, working with visible light. And not just amplitude, I can also control phase of each different frequency. Right? This is my weapon. And I'm just going to use this to control, basically pick out all the 3 pulses I need to get spectrum I want. Right. So, first demonstration was like this. Say, okay, you have spectrum like this, alright? Then, this is broadband, so exciting multiple vibrations is no problem. Problem is how to select narrow probe. So what they do is they use polarization. So they just said, okay, this is their configuration, just like what I have. They just said, as okay, command of this SLM, okay, this liquid crystal say, alright, from here to here, let's set the polarization X. Then, in this narrow part, okay, this is exaggeration actually, this part is only like 1 nanometer, okay? They said, okay, Y polarization. And you can only do this by pulse shaping, right? Then, what happens is, this part will excite, okay, vibration. Then, this part can also probe it and just generate, broad featureless vibration spectrum, but they are mostly X-polarized. But now, because this probe, narrow probe is Y-polarized, there's some component, looks like Raman, because they are probed by narrow bandwidth probe, and with the polarizer, just transmitting Y component, they can get something like this. So this is actually the first time people saw background feed. Car spectrum in single shot. And that time I saw this paper when I was in postdoc, and we were all excited. Okay, yeah, great. Let's just follow that. That's what that's the way I got involved in this business. Problem of this is it used polarization. And as what Ivan asked me yesterday, anytime you use polarization to eliminate background, your sample has to be super clean. But we don't. We are not interested in studying the microscopy study of super clean homogeneous sample. The reason why you want to do microscopy is sample is inhomogeneous. So this guy basically doesn't work if you plug in something like polymer sample, right? Because then the sample becomes depolarized and you are just dominated by this non-resonant signal. Here, see is, you have huge non-resonant signal, but they are just in different polarization, and your polarizer basically cut it out. If the sample depolarizes any small bit, this guy is just dominated by non-resonant signal, and you have the same problem. So basically I begin from there. So actually I just repeat my setup again. Setup is very simple. I just begin with broadband femtosecond laser, and I just process it with my pulse shaper, and then just focus the sample and just generate signal, cut out laser, and just detect spectrum. Okay. My trick is, okay, I want to add one more component, but I just show you, okay, there's some easy step-by-step way. Alright, if I just think naively, right, say I need 3 pulses to generate spectrum, right? Let's say, okay, I want this broad part as a pump. And this part, this is another broad part in red as stokes. And okay, I need some narrow but healthy pulse probe. So say I want to use this part as a probe. Okay, I can make this spectral shape using my pulse shaper, right? So remember, my original spectrum doesn't look like this. I process it to make this like this. Alright, I shine it. This is what happened. Okay, I know this guy is a probe, this guy is a pump, this guy is source. But problem is, molecule doesn't have any idea what I have in my head. Right? They just create whatever signal they can generate. So basically, this pump can act as a probe. So you have all kind of combination. You end up this broad feature signal. Okay, that's one problem. Alright, I understand that. The second problem, okay, is this guy is very strong. Actually, this is taken in 1 millisecond time with palm size, optical, the spectrum. Okay, from microscope. What turns out is, most of this is not vibrational signal at all. This is what I talk about. Non-resonant signal. They are just dominant, especially if you put this kind of like 20 femtosecond laser, all you get is electric response. Alright, so I need something to do. So first thing I have to do is I have to select the probe somehow, right? But here, I cannot I don't want to generate this guy in different place, and I don't want to use polarization. Only thing left is phase. So what I do is this. Now, I can also control phase of all these different colors. So what I do is, I simply pick this narrow part, which I want to use as a probe, and just make this, the phase 180 degree off. That means basically what I'm making is, I just make wave here is negative value from positive value, okay, just out of phase. Alright, then what happens is this. Still, most of the signal you will see is like that. But there is component probed by this guy, and now this guy interfere complete 180 degree off from all other guys. So you have something like this, right? But they interfere differently from other things. You end up this one interfere. So you will detect something like this, right? So now this guy can stick it up. So and if you just look at the spectrum, okay, what you have is this non-resonant signal broad feature. On top of that, you have this knot-shaped spectrum wherever you have vibrational resonance. And by the way, the sample here is just totally on the microscope. This is like our test bed because it's so strong. By the way, so you have this kind of knots, and if you look at the formula, you realize what you get is real part of the vibrational spectrum, and Raman spectrum looks like, is imaginary part. So in one sense, what you have to do is find some numerical process that convert real part to imaginary part. And if you study some optical spectroscopy, this is actually well known, almost 100 years ago. This is nothing but Kramer's correlation. Imaginary part to real part, or real part to imaginary part. But here, I just found that there is a simpler way, much faster way to do this in computer, less than something like microsecond in computer. It's using Fourier transform. And actually, this is very interesting. Alright, say you have vibrational response, which is complex Lorentzian, right? If you plot real part, it looks like this, and real part is nothing but sum of complex conjugate, right? So in case 2 times real part is, if you just sum original complex function and conjugate, complex function, imaginary part cancel out. That's real part. Now, this guy, if you Fourier transform, so basically looking at this guy in time domain, what happened is Lorentzian function already have causality inside. It means before time 0, you don't have any vibration. So if you Fourier transform this one, it looks like that. You don't have any vibrational motion, and from time 0, it's just excited and just decaying, oscillate. Now, if you do the same thing with complex conjugate, okay, then what it means is in Fourier domain, it basically reverse in time symmetry, so now it becomes just opposite direction. So at the end, what I'm saying is, in frequency domain, here, okay, vibrational resonance, and this complex conjugate, they are mixed up to make this kind of knot shape. But in time domain, they are separate, right? So all you have to do is this. So this is experimental data. So now I got my signal look like that, okay? If I don't select the probe, basically just don't put this 180 phase offset, what you will get is this smooth, this broad featureless signal. I just divide these two, then you will get this guy, then you will get something like this. So this corresponds to cross-term what I was talking about, looks like near part. Okay? And then what I have to do is Fourier transform, okay, then becomes symmetric, but this below time zero is the compressed conjugate one. I simply just plug in 0, cut half. Okay? Then you will get entire complex number. And then inverse Fourier transform, take imaginary part, look like this. So what I'm saying is, okay, I'm just repeating again, you can get signal like this, something like millisecond or 100 microsecond level. This reference has to be taken just once because it does not depend on sample. Now, from here, division, 1 FT, 2 FT can be done, something like microsecond level in today's computer. So you can do this really fast. Alright, and there is one more advantage here. Okay, so I just, again, this is what you get, your enemy background, your signal, and cross-term. Okay, no more sample. This magnitude of this guy is like this highest, middle, smallest. What people have tried so far is, alright, I just don't want to see this guy at all. So I'm going to look at this and eliminate this guy. Right? Now I'm saying, okay, I'm not going to make this non-linear signal as an enemy. I want to live with it. There's no way to eliminate it. It's too difficult. Instead, I want to see their child between this previous enemy and what I want to do. This crosstalk. Right? Now look at this guy. Now, your signal is here, but it is multiplied by this background. So, this is what is called homodyne amplification, actually. Because your signal is optically amplified by this background. You just have to know how to extract it. So, here I just show you two different tolerant signals. The reason why it's noisy is I just lower down the power to demonstrate this effect. Okay, there's the old way, the Israel guys way, they just eliminate this guy by polarization and you will get something like that. In the same condition, I just remove polarizer and do my way to detect the cross-term, it looks like that. So you can really see this optical amplification actually happen and your non-linear signal can be your friend. So, and another nice news is now your signal, okay, it just depends on field. So it has linear concentration dependence. So what it means is, say I can detect 10 millimolar of something signal now. If I want to detect 1 millimolar sample, in this way you have to be 1,000 times better. In this way, just 10 times better. Right? If somebody asks me, you have to have, like, make your system 1,000,000 times better, I basically give up. I probably don't even look at it. 1,000,000 times is not easy. But if somebody say, okay, what about 100 times, then maybe okay. So this is big difference, right? So this is what we achieved about, 1.5 years ago. So first thing we did was we just plug in some liquid sample, like cyclohexane tolerant. These guys are very strong sample. But this is Raman equivalent signal taken in 20 microseconds. And I think this is almost first time people ever measure Raman-like signal is less than millisecond. That's the fastest speed my CCD can go. And alright, then polymer or like polystyrene PET, 100 microseconds. So you can take this in every 100 microseconds. At that time, the problem was you can take this in this short time, but transfer the data from CCD to computer was slow. So and then it took about 1 year to figure out how to make it. So first thing we did was, okay, we take all this image, okay, all this spectrum in every spatial position, right? Then just integrate signal at 1,000 wave number, which is just the polystyrene resonance. Then you can get this one. This red one is high signal, right? So you can see polystyrene is just from the domain here. Then if I just look at this PET peak is in 1100, basically the contrast is just reversed. So we demonstrate if you take entire Raman spectrum at single shot, you can use the spectrum, vibration spectrum itself as a contrast. for chemical imaging. So okay, you can see, so you can say this red part and yellow part, this guy is polystyrene composition, and this and the other one is for PET. So you can do that. All right. So then, problem is okay. So even with this, sensitivity is still low. So we gotta make it better. So we work. I mean, so we work so somehow to make it better, and so we have to think about this process again. So first thing we did was okay. Now we use broadband. Right, so something like 10 femtosecond, second, all right, for single vibration excitation efficiency. How that corresponds in comparison with picosecond pulse? And then I talked about this before. Like in picosecond pulse, you just combine two narrow bandwidth, and all the power here and here are used to create one vibration. Right? Now, in femtosecond version, okay, this blue pair, black pair, red pair, they can create same vibration. So actually, if you, as yesterday, if you have same bandwidth and go through this with like Gaussian pulse shape or anything, it turns out that you have same vibrational excitation efficiency. So it's not the actual problem. Problem is here, photo damage. Because this guy is very long pulse, you can put a lot more power, something like 10 or 20 times. But here, you cannot put that much power because sample begins to observe non-linearly, and it just basically just burn your sample. So we have to somehow fix that. Now, and we want to go, okay, so you push this sensitivity and just want to probe whether we can go something called sharp noise level. This is what theoretically allowed signal sensitivity level. So we just, okay, I'm not going to bore you by this, but so we can go there. So this is the data with nitrate, and I just change the concentration, and this guy is calculated maximum noise ratio we can go. So this is sharp noise, and we can almost go there. So now our sensitivity is about, several 10 millimolar in 1 second for this guy. So it's still not, and by the way, single frequency has about millimolar sensitivity. So this is still much less sensitive than fluorescence, but you don't need any labeling or anything. So actually 1 millimolar is kind of barrier, and people try to just overcome that. And we also test the concentration dependence, and as I said before, now everything is linear. So, okay, so I think I will just stop here. This is like 15 minutes, and this is late. Okay.
If not, we'll resume in 15 minutes.
Huh? From the sample is single shot, we're using broadband laser, and okay, I can get this, and okay, just everything fits with theory, right? Then one problem at the time, like 1.5 years ago, was just data transfer to PCD, and now you can do it fast, so you can eventually image three-dimensional within a few minutes. All right, so bottom line is now I can get Raman signal from something like 10 millimolar concentrate sample. All right, what can I do? So it looks like now I can do something. So we look around, and I found a very interesting problem. In my opinion, this, obesity is the most, worst problem human race face now. Well, okay, you can just against me, but many people understand. Our biggest health problem is obesity, okay? And then you heard a lot about good fat and bad fat, right? So you probably heard that doctor keep saying you eat more fish oil, eat more fish, okay? And don't eat trans fat, okay? And normal fat. Okay, what are they? Okay? If you're not chemist or biology, you don't know what the fat looks like. It looks like this. So this is fatty acid, and fat are ester of this guy. Okay, basically what it looks like is you have long chain, either 16 or 18 carbon, right? That's just alkyl chain. Then you have carboxylic acid, This is called fatty acid. This is typically what you find in your kitchen. These are oil, like olive oil, sesame oil, like flour oil, all these guys are this, right? Now, alright, saturated, okay, good fat means, like something like fish oil means you have lots of double bond in this alkyl chain. So something like this DHA or EPA, this is what you found most in fish oil, and people believe this guy has good health benefits. Now, okay, something like 1 or 2, okay, this is what you find in olive oil, right? So still it's unsaturated. Saturated means that you don't have any double bond, okay? So these are best fat, okay fat, and the worst fat is just saturated one, okay? Or actually, the worst one is something like this with trans one here. Here, if you ever remember the chemistry is this double bond configuration is called cis because this guy, this two alkyl chain is facing the same direction. If this guy is somehow trans, that is like this public enemy in health business these days. You probably hear that almost any product you see in grocery these days say 0 gram trans fat. So that's what it is. Alright, now problem is we still don't know how this good fat can reduce cholesterol level in your heart in cell level. Because one problem is we have no idea how to differentiate all these different fat in cell level. Okay? I mean, you can do this by mass spec or NMR, but you have to extract it. So we are lacking some imaging technique that can look at healthy cell or cancerous cell or some problematic cell, see what's the ratio between good fat and bad fat, and here difference between this fat is basically composition ratio of double bond and single bond, right? And there's no way you can label this guy with fluorescence, right? Fluorescence will just tell you this, you have oil, that's it, right? How can you do it? So what I did was, my wife actually liked to cook a lot, so fortunately we have lots of different oil, right? So except this fish oil, this is actually from gel from CVS, we just basically plug in all oil I have in my microscope and look at the spectrum. This is what I got. Basically, their Raman Spectrum say, right? These guys are just giant alkyl chain with carboxylic acid. What am I talking about? But there's one peak here, double L, right? They are the one who changes. You can see. So it looks like the fish. So this is like best, worst, fat. Okay? Looks like this ratio keeps changing. Turns out, what happened is this 1260 peak is CH weighting, what people call deformation, whatever, when they are next to double bond, right? Now, this 1300, this guy is CH twisting mode from saturated part. So, if you actually, here, the reason why we have double L is these are from my kitchen, they are not pure. But if you actually have to look at Raman Spectrum of the pure saturated fat, you just only have this guy, 1300, and it is completely, the saturated, you just don't have much here, right? So, if you somehow look at the ratio of these two, right, you can tell, right, content of double bond. Right, so we were very excited. So, because I brought oil from my kitchen, I asked my students, make ramen, right? So what he did is this. Okay, so most extreme part was somehow olive oil and fish oil. We make drumlet, small liquid drumlet. Actually, you can find this in your body too. And just mix it and just look at whether we can distinguish it, right? So what it is, so remember, we are taking entire Raman spectrum like this in every position. So here, I just look at 1260, these two guys are strongest. But in the same, this is not separate scan. You have same data, and if I just look at 1300, this guy decreased a lot, but they are similar, or increased actually. So we can say these two are fish oil, the other two are olive oil. So we're just about, what we're doing is just calibrating and see whether we can get a quantitative, an estimate of ratio of saturated and unsaturated one, and whether we can apply that to actually real cell, and that's what we are working on. So anyway, okay, so that's the end of my multiplex card story, and I'm just summing it up. Alright, so I have been talking about two different ways of doing cards. One is single frequency cards, okay, it's picosecond. I mean, the sensitivity is impressive, alright? And okay, but problem is, to get spectrum, you have to change the wavelength of laser, which is not easy. I mean, not impossible, but, there's problem. Multiplex is completely opposite. You can get entire vibrant spectrum in single shot, but all these advantages of single frequency become your problem. Alright, so, actually, I was basically stopped at about 1 year ago, and I was thinking, okay, is there anything, actually, okay, looks like both are almost at the end. Is there anything, something between? So that's what I was wondering, and, I actually realized, somebody will try this. So, idea is this. Is there any way to do single frequency cards with femtosecond lasers? It's kind of contradictory. If you have broadband, okay, I mean, you end up broadband, okay? So, how can you excite? Basically what I'm saying is, if you have two broadband pump and Stokes pulse, is there any way to excite just one vibration? The answer is yes. Some genius physicists already figured out 10 years ago, and somebody actually think about and apply this in cards about 5 years ago. So trick was stretch the pulse. So if you ever involved in femtosecond laser business, first thing you learn is optical dispersion. So actually this is what typically people try to avoid, right? What happens is, if you have laser, a femtosecond laser, true pulse laser, it means, okay, different color. If this laser goes through any medium except vacuum, even air, in some sense, through this, what happens is, different color sees different index of, refractive index, and they are just basically dispersing time. This is called group velocity dispersion. Basically, your pulse are stretching. So typically, people want to make it short, so basically you have to compensate that, right? This is something you want to avoid, but this actually can be good for us, right? So, idea is this. Now, you have broadband, okay, pump and Stokes. If you stretch them identically, what happens is, this red, okay, so here y-axis wavelength, x is time. So if you have the short pulse, all these different color happen here. But now, I stretch it, and what happens is, this red pair has frequency difference of omega, and this yellow pair, and all these pairs, they just have identical frequency difference, right? But this, if they were to interact with other, they are separate in time, so they cannot create other vibration. So simply, if you just disperse your two femtosecond laser, the trick is identically, then you can just excite just one vibration, right? So that was the entire idea, all right? And if you just plug it and just look at the entire formula, if you have same power, actually this says, in theory, you have same efficiency as single phase cards with picosecond laser. Okay, then why you bother this? The thing is this, reason is this. This guy, he proved vibrational frequency can be tuned by time delay. Okay, if you want to say this is 1000 wave number, right? So you can do this. Now, all of a sudden, you want to see it 1200 wave number. All you have to do is just move meter of what this beam and just move on, time delay, and you can just switch the wavelengths. So comparing to single frequency, previous version, you don't have to tweak your cavity or change temperature of your crystal. All you have to do is just delay, which can be done very fast. So, and this is actually not my idea, and first originally demonstrated in like 5 years ago, and people kind of forgot it, and what they didn't realize was they just look at very small bandwidth, something like 100 femtoseconds. So like they work with like 100 to 200 wave number region, and they realize they have to stretch really long. But what we found is, if you have broadband, actually the situation is much better. So this is what we got. So we first want to test it, this idea. For a straight person, we can make this. So in pulse shaping business, you can stretch them out just applying this quadratic phase curve, right? Then, okay, so I use this is my laser spectrum, like this part. Okay, so pump, the other part stokes, I just apply this guy that corresponds to this. Okay, I'm not going to bore you by technical detail, but this is what you will learn if you enter femtosecond business. Alright, and what I do is I just delay this second part first that corresponds to moving the center of the phase mass around. So, and then just detect everything in a PMT, and this is what I got. Alright, here, what I did was I just changed this amount of dispersion by this per shaper, alright, with 5,000 GBD, or some number, okay? You'll get something like this, okay? You see what we have been talking about, interference between non-resonant and resonant. And if you go put more and more chart for this dispersion, alright, non-resonant signal decrease faster than resonant signal, then you can basically see all this homodynamic amplification effect and everything. And if I just normalize about 20,000 femtosecond square GBD, we reach this resolution limit. And okay, so we can say we can get this spectrum, right? So again, this is not single shot. Here, in x-axis is basically I'm just scanning this phase point by point and just detecting everything with PMT. So this is like single picosecond cars, but difference is here I don't have to tweak laser or change the temperature. Alright, so we want to test it. Okay, so we just selected polystyrene B, which is we are using all the time. So this is actually spectrum taken out of polystyrene B, and with this pulse shaper, it's not that the great, but anyway. So it has polystyrene has a peak, major peak, and 1,000 wave number, and you can see this. And the reason why it kind of moving up and down is actually the bead is moving around between time and time. Okay, so but anyway, so if I set, 110 wave number, okay, signal look like this. And this is taking about 1 second per image. And if I look at 550, okay, basically, most of the signal depressed, but you still have something remain. Okay, so, right. Well, but I don't want to use my sophisticated pulse shaper for this purpose because there are many reasons. One is, we need really higher power, and pulse shaper throughput is about 20%. And this dispersion we need is actually more than what pulse shaper can do. So we just switch it to simpler way. So what we did is the following. We just calculate thickness of glass, which can make our pulse desirable. So actually, it took 3 months to get this glass. This is like some weird, strange glass. Name is like SF57. I end up in Pudong here. It took 3 months to buy this in US, so because this company does not have any business with US. So okay, anyway, at the end, I got glass. I just put it in. Then, because we have this dispersion issue, blue part is always stretching less and more. So you have to stretch this red part more, so you have to basically compress another small piece of glass to basically make these two well-balanced, dispersed parts. Then I just combine, using this simple micro interferometer type setup, right? And just combine it, basically just, discarding half of the power, and just do microscopy, right? Now, this is what I got. So here, x-axis, I'm just changing time delay by moving this meter. And this is from cyclohexane. You can see this real part, nice looking spectrum. And this guy take about 1 second. So each pixel is about, actually PMT setting is like 1 millisecond, but you need some time to move this meter. Okay, so just summary for this part. Okay, basically what I'm saying is you can do single frequency color with femtosecond laser, and benefit is you can change wavelengths much easier way. Now you just have to move meter, not dealing with your laser. And in theory efficiency is the same, but you have same problem again. Non-resonant signal. So you end up this, right? So again, so you have to take spectrum, then it doesn't look like that. Still I don't like this that much. Okay? So because I know all this history, This is why, actually this is one example, why you want to study what other people have done earlier. I know Sony did these frequency modulation cards. Okay? So, okay, I thought about this. Okay, now, the reason why they gave up is, how to create two lasers, right, for pump 1 and 2, just like 1 nanometer apart and switching fast. It took them like 2 years, and they demonstrated, and it's so complicated, they basically gave up. Now, what I have to do is move this meter, right? It's much easier. So, okay, actually what I first thought was, we can move this meter fast. So we actually test speaker, because, sound is from like, what was that, like 200 to like 20 kilohertz. So if you can move, this speaker is actually moving very fast. Problem was, so we spent like one month to figure it out, but it didn't work. You can just only move like 100 hertz. You cannot move it that fast. So we end up using Parker cell. So here, basically same part, Stokes the same. Now, in pump part, what I did is I put Parker cell, so switch polarization, P and S. And if it's P, it goes to left side. If it's S, it goes to straight. Now, you can change this time delay of this guy relative to this guy independently. So if you, do it right, you can make this pump 2 just a little bit off, right? And this is Parker cell. I can just switch it very fast. So we are actually running in 100 kilohertz. You can, in theory, you can go to like several 10 megahertz. So this is what you do, and this is what it looks like. So and you just look at the difference. Now, basically, you are looking at derivative of what you saw before. So if I just take the spectrum, it looks like this. So, okay, still this is not like Raman spectrum, but it looks closer. Now you begin to see peaks, right? And now the signal is getting basically suppressed a lot, not completely. So, okay, and because I've been working in this numerical process a lot, and now I realized you can convert this to imaginary part, we can do it. But now, point is this. So, right, so we just test with polystyrene video again. You realize our image is much better. Right? The same thing basically, 3 micron one, and if I tune that 1010, it looks like this. One benefit here is, okay, as I talked about yesterday, we remove laser fluctuation. Because you are moving very fast, switching very fast. So you can get this. Now, if I just tune just a little bit off, like 980, basically it's gone. So that means we have great vibration selectivity, and just for comparison, I just show you what we had. This is even 950. If you don't do anything and just look at the non-lateral signal like this, but now if you just look at this difference, alright, basically this is like Synchronization Raman, and signal is great. So now we are working on to this guy. We got this about 3 weeks ago, so we are still working on to, and we are just about to look at cell with this. So anyway, so that's just, okay, end of normal card. So we are still working on and see what we can do. Now, actually this is what we were working about half years ago and still kind of, okay, so stopping now. But anyway, this is normal cards, right? Here, one aspect is, like Raman, this upper state here is virtual state. You don't have actual any real state there. That's why it's, okay, of resonance normal Raman. So you really need to create the frequency here. What if your molecule has electric excited state over there? So here, what I'm saying is, these two, if you have real state here, then this process can be enhanced dramatically. So this is actually happened in Raman Spectroscopy II. It's called resonance Raman. In resonance Raman, you can get something like 1,000,000 times more signal. Problem here is resonance Raman. That means, basically what I'm saying is, do cars for Raman with fluorescence dye. But in Raman case, fluorescence increased so much, so actually this guy cancels out, so you don't gain that much. But here, we are looking at blue side, so yeah, we don't have the problem. So, what we did is, okay, we just plug in all the dye we can get. So, right, this is what we choose. Rhodamin 800, this guy's spectrum looks, absorption spectrum look like this. So unfortunately, we couldn't find the right one that observed just here. So it's still off. But what we found is this. Now, this concentration is like 0.5 millimolar. Okay, remember, our limit was like 30 millimolar before for nitrate. Now, with 0.5 millimolar of this dye, their signal has same strength as your sorbent methanol. It means this guy is 10,000 times more sensitive than normal cars. Okay, so this is 0.5 millimolar. So what? What we tried was, okay, then we just keep, lowering down to see, okay, what's our sensitivity limit? We end up something like 10 micromolar, right? Here, our focal volume is about 10 to minus 16, and if you just plug in, this is conservative. We have something like a few hundred molecules. There's bivalent spectrum taken in 1 second. And what we were very interested in is, this is not fully resonant yet. And we found that, like early 1990s, work people, non-microscopic people, they already demonstrate you can get like micromolar level on this enhancement in this bulk measurement. So the real problem is how to tune your laser spectrum up to here. So that's why we are working with Continuum, and that's what, okay. So, what I'm saying is, if you are lucky that your molecule have electronic resonance, this guy, in theory, can detect single molecules by vibration spectrum. So then it's actually, big news. So that's one project we are working on. So, okay, then kind of we're almost the end of my talk. So one direction, what people in this business are heading now is this. Okay, we have work about 10 years. Okay, meanwhile, okay, people still keep trying to make it to work as original, the purpose. Detecting selective vibration to see what molecule you have. But problem was, as I mentioned earlier to this talk, other than CH or CH, there's no such peak. Without taking entire vibrant spectrum, you have no idea what they are. That's basically what I'm saying. So, what they end up is, okay, fine. Then, what they found instead is CH can be a good marker. When I was okay, if somebody asked me before I joined, I do this business, I'm chemist, okay, CH, what chemical selectivity you have with CH? Then I say, what are you talking about? Okay, CH is present everywhere. Every molecule is CH. So what chemical selectivity do you have? But you have, because lipid is so densely packed in, of course, environment, also called cell, and whenever you see huge signal in CH, you can say it's lipid. Problem is, you don't know what lipid they are. That's why we are trying to do, but some people say that's enough, because lipid is not easy to dye, right? And so what they do is, okay, instead of just pushing the CARS technique, many people actually now switch to other nonlinear microscopy technique and just combine it. Because once you generate this guy with femtosecond laser, you have other types, something like some frequency generation, second harmonic generation, or you can label them to get two photon fluorescence. So, critical thing is you can get all this guy at the same time. So one example is here. This is some, okay, actually this is neuronal cell of mouse. Somehow this projector just distorted my thing. Okay, it's written here. This is, okay, basically neuron cell. Spinal cord cell in the mouse. What they see is, okay, they look at second some frequency generation to form fluorescence CARS. So CARS is red, it look at lipid. Whenever you see here red, that means lipid, okay? And this second harmonic was some frequency. They are very sensitive to interface. So the stuff in our cell having most interface